Hi, I'm Ted. This is the Real Ted G podcast. I have my producer Bing with me.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey there, Bing. Working through the pain.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I'm just getting over a little cold, and but I feel good today. My throat doesn't hurt. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Doesn't come back.
Changed our camera setup.
We did.
We're doing good.
Got some new cameras.
But I'm noticing I can actually see myself now. So I don't know. Now I just gotta make sure I still look skinny. So Bing.
So we were talking about. We had this actually cool idea about what sets you apart from other real estate agents, because we're trying to get more, back into the real estate swing of things on the show. And I was like, yo, this would be a great topic to show what makes you unique in your industry. Because one, already when I came in here and started working for you, I saw The Office. I'm like, oh, this guy's on a different level. I like it.
Really? How so? Tell me what you mean.
Well, because I walked it doesn't feel like an office. It feels like a place where you could create and like work in a productive way. It's not kind of like you walk in and there's a meeting room and then cubicles. I don't like that.
Oh, right. Like everyone to your stations.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like free flowing and this is very it's easy. Everyone has their own space, but can also communicate with each other. Like it's easy to find people, and it encourages not just work and productivity, but relationship building, which I like.
Yeah. So I guess you know what, you are right, because it takes a lot to create an office culture that's pleasant. Let's start with pleasant. That's number one, and then productive. Wow, that would have that takes skill.
Yeah.
So and this environment, I always like to say that I'm blessed, I'm lucky, we're always where we're supposed to be, and that is 100% the case. It's also sometimes you are where you are, and then you make it where you're supposed to be. And that's I guess an underlining philosophy.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I could sit. I'll give you a real life example in 2 seconds. We could sit and say, I don't have an environment. I don't have a building that suits itself to my creative flow. And I think that's where, because I'm not typical. I don't think I'm typical for a real estate agent. I mean, the first question I asked my first broker was, can I use my stage name? That was, can I use the headshots I just paid, quite a bit of money for? They're in black and white. They're sexy. So not being typical is not a problem. And you could say, okay, oh no, I don't fit the norm. I don't have an office. I don't have I'll give you a real example. I wanted to manage an office. Didn't have a title, but kind of still managed an office. So you can either accept the things the way they are that are not to your liking, or you can make the things and turn them into your liking, and make it that, no, this is where I was supposed to be all along. I never thought I'd be working this particular market.
Make do with what you have, and then you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, it's like, wait, there's a song from the 80s. Oh, wait, if you don't love the one you're with, oh no, that's, if you can't be with the one you love,
love the one you're with.
The one you're with.
Yeah. You said something that related to me, where it's like, I'm not typical, and I absolutely agree with you, because.
And again, no one is typical. Everyone is an individual.
I don't know. I mean, there's individuals, but I feel, you know what it is? I feel like people try to get rid of their individuality to blend in. For me, my interests, for example, are very all over the place. I love tarot cards. I love shooting. I love the outdoors. I love parties. I love skateboarding and film and podcasting. Things that most people, at least in my generation, I found, stick to one or two core interests and just make that their entire personality. Mm-hmm. And I see that as a type of way to try and fit in. And I'm very not like that. I just like things to like things.
I feel the one thing that I will point out about society, the way it's changed in the last decade. I mean, I'm not even saying the last 50 years. I'll just say, I mean, maybe even the last 3 years. I feel individuality is seems to be a very nice. It's like the norm is to be individual. And in real estate, because I think the topic really is what you texted me. Here's a cool topic I think you should discuss. What sets you apart from other real estate agents? And that it's not that it's not just, I don't find it a cool topic. I find that it is exactly what we we train when we get into real estate. We all have very similar tools, and our job as a real estate agent, as an individual, to obtain business is, what sets you apart. A lot of agents hear me say, you only have to be 10% better to make a difference.
So what's your 10%?
My 10% is it's 110%. I have so my genetic defect. Don't worry, it's not like a third nipple or anything.
Oh shit.
I have a genetic defect, or maybe it's not a defect, but and certain people that I've seen around me as well. Sometimes people have this little thing that goes off in their head when it's a competition. I'm not going to say that I'm a competitive person. It's just that when it's a race, or when it's a competition, me or the other realtor, something goes off in my brain, and it makes me just go all out, balls to the wall.
Yes.
I don't think I have a medium setting. It's like all in.
Or I'm all out.
Yeah, all in with individuals. When I work with an agent to help them, I'm all in. And the only disappointing thing is that it's so often that the other agent isn't all in, and that makes no sense to me. When a complete stranger that for the most part doesn't gain that much from being all in, why the other person wouldn't? Like if I have someone that's all in with me, gosh, there's nothing that I'll return the favor tenfold.
So your what sets you apart is that you're willing to help anyone, even if it doesn't necessarily benefit you, to help them financially.
Yes, because it helps the universe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but what I really was saying, I'm like the fucking Energizer Bunny. I just keep going.
I just keep going. I love it.
When there's something on, there's like right now we have a client that kind of like upped the ante. They said they kind of got into DEFCON 1, like, Ted, if we could find this, we'll take this, and it's a very large transaction. It's like everything, all hands on deck. I don't care if I'm showing them houses at 10 p.m. tonight, and because if their goal is to find the right house before the end of the weekend, I'm okay, because we have the right buyer that's standing, that's sitting right there, and we probably have a little more than 5 days to take advantage of them. So it's all, this is all in. Energizer Bunny.
I love it. So when you're at when you look at like the industry, agents in your industry from other companies, what do they do that you absolutely would not do when it comes to a client, selling, advising buyers?
The biggest problem in the industry is we're not there to make decisions for a client, and that's the one thing that can definitely change your whole career in general, just the way you tackle it. Oh no, my client would never say yes to that. No, that's not what when I hear that, that's like nails on a chalkboard, and it's like, oh no, it's like, oh, you don't know what the client will say yes to. I've had clients say yes to crazy things, and I was like, okay, I don't question them, I don't call them on it. It's a lot like when you take a buyer out, you always just allow the buyer to discover what they want. You never say, oh, they would never want a cape because they said those words. And this is not an untrue story. Buyers will say, we do not want a cape. And then they'll turn around and say, can we see this house? And then you take them to that house.
Did you say
never
a
call
cape?
them on their shit.
A cape?
Yeah. Oh, I just used a random style house.
I thought it was a cake, like a birthday cake. I was like, why are we talking about cakes?
Some people are diabetic.
Okay, finish what you were saying.
So for a ranch house, any style house, I don't like colonials.
Right.
Now, there are specific limitations, because maybe someone says, I don't like colonials because I don't want to go up and down stairs. Now, again, if you find a colonial with the ground floor bedroom, maybe you solve their problem. But they can ask "Oh, Ted, can we see this house?" You never argue, but you said you don't want to see that style of house. Oh, you said you don't want that particular street. And no, you allow them. I mean, it's their house. You can't want it more than they do. And at the end of the day, it's their house. It's their decision. It's their mistake. If there is a mistake to be made when negotiating or when making decisions. But I think that would be the only thing when you do hear agents say, "Oh no, they would never say never." Open yourself up to all the possibilities. We are in a great position that we're in the middle, and I think people might view that as, we're just in the middle. We're actually the conduit that everything has to flow through, and it's an important job. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm a surgeon, but it's a really nice and it's an enjoyable job to be able to experience it. I don't know if I answered your question. Industry. I'm impressed with agents that really just facilitate a transaction for whatever reason, and maybe they do it because they absolutely see the big picture. Maybe they do it because they love making transactions happen. But yeah, I'm disappointed with agents that are in the way of a transaction.
What do you mean?
I mean, a lot of agents, our job as facilitators, or the conduit that the transaction runs through, from start to finish, is to do just that: assist in the transaction. And if we're the roadblock, then we're literally working against our seller and against ourselves as well. So it's when agents, become the roadblock. No, I'm not going to show it. No, very, very strange behavior.
Just saying
sometimes.
no a lot instead of trying to find solutions to the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't work in any business, and I don't know why people would be an independent contractor. Or
I say
owner.
one of my real job responsibilities to my clients is I'm helping them stay out of their own way sometimes.
Right.
And I appreciate it when people do that for me in my life. Sometimes we need someone to say, "You're kind of in your own way," or at least push me to the left or push me to the right, so I'm out of my own opportunity, out of the way of my own opportunity.
Are there any negative stigmas when it comes to real estate? Like when you're going up to a potential seller and they're like, "Oh, real estate agent." Like, does that happen in your industry?
Oh, I think there's several negative stigmas. I think everyone thinks, "Oh, you're just here to make money," and I'll say, "Trust me, I don't make enough of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here at your door." But there's the stigma. What I was always told, the one stigma that I was told, and I think that's the one thing that an agent, if they really want to stand apart and stand out of the crowd, is don't make it seem like this was the one thing you could do. I hope that people that are in the industry, there's way too much work involved. There's way too. I mean, it's not an easy field,
right?
If this is if you feel and you tackle this as the only thing you could do, then it's the wrong mindset.
Right.
I hate to break it to people. I'm here because I want to be. I got into real estate because I wanted to.
That's the thing. Like, you gotta have that. I feel like a lot of people get into independent contract work, whether selling insurance, investments, real estate, because they feel they have no other choice. When it should really be, this is the choice I chose out of many. And is that like a common trend in your industry? I can't speak for the trend of the industry right now. Okay.
I can speak for it about 20 and 15 and even 10 years ago. I've seen a trend that seems like a lot more younger people are getting into the industry, more so than usual. I was the exception at 24 years old. My boss was the exception at, I think he got into real estate at 22. We would be considered the exception. Usually, a lot of people in the field already came from another field, sometimes retirees, retiring from all different kinds of jobs, post office,
That was my grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, and you see people entering the field in their 40s, and and excelling.
I think what changed what changed is a lot of young people now are very investment conscious and money conscious. I don't know how that changed, but there are a lot of young people getting involved in work like this. But there's also that impatience too, because this is the long game. This is a long game.
Yes, you're running a marathon here. And if you think you're just going to do a sprint, it may work out. It may work out. You might make a good amount of money, 6 months, maybe even for the first 12 months, and then suddenly the industry, like it is as we speak, changes. And it is an inflation-proof industry. It is. I mean, it's this and porn. They're both very inflation-proof. Like other things are going up around us. People always have to make adjustments in their habitat. Families grow, things happen in life, divorces happen, death happens, and that's what it does make it inflation-proof. A recession-proof real estate, recession-proof business as well. So but back to your question, what really specifically I could say really differentiates me from other real estate agents, the norm? It has to be my keen fashion sense.
You do have a fire fashion sense. I ain't gonna hold you, man.
Yeah.
The white pants, bro.
No one rocks white pants like I do. If I go to a white party every week, I would.
Look at what we're doing right now, too. I mean, this is setting you apart from a lot of real estate agents. I
will say the coolest part is I was approached. I was having sushi at someone that I knew from years ago. He actually was one of the people that videotaped a couple of different skits that we did in 2014 or 16. And he came up to me, and I almost didn't recognize him. He actually has a security surveillance cameras business.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Oh, Ted, how are you? Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Oh." So finally I remembered him, and I was like, "Oh my God, Brian, how are you?" And he said, "I see the podcast." And I said, "No way. I hope you get a good chuckle out of it and it's entertaining." And he's like, "No, it's even better. It's really," he liked it. And it was a nice compliment. I offered him an autograph and he didn't take it. But so I do consider that. So people do things for different reasons. And This is obviously business. I'm in it to make money. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people always ask, well, what are you getting any business out of it? And anything you do like this is really more about very typical of institutional marketing. This is, and also concreting some marketing, being, setting up a presence. People are online. People do watch podcasts. Not a lot of people watch mine, but people do watch podcasts. People are on that realm, So same way 20 years ago, no one knew what Netflix was.
Right.
So we bring a topic of real estate. We bring a topic, maybe somewhat mindset. Maybe, we're going to explore all different things. Maybe teaching people how to do some really cool things with numbers and how to approach investing. So anyway, that happened, and in the same day, I was actually at the gym, and I was in the middle of the workout, and the coach. Now I'm friendly with all the coaches; they're all really great people. My gym is nice. It's just cool people all around, great environment. And she comes up to me and she says, "Ted, tell me, when are these house prices gonna go down?" And so I could tell you the reactive answer, and the way I approached it was, "Why are you asking me? Do you own a home?" I asked. And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why do you want the prices to go down?" But they're thinking about maybe changing neighborhoods or something. Oh. They love the house. And I said, "So what you really need to decide is set your goal. Is it just to find a similar type of house in maybe a quieter street? Okay." And then I said, "I'll work with that. That's what I work with." Now, I love it. It's great. It's additional business. The important part of my whole story was I didn't go up to someone and say, "Oh, wait, let me help you. When you're looking to sell your house or when you're looking to buy a house, I'll help you," which is very typical of what we have to do in the beginning of real estate. When you first get out there, you got to go out there. You got to make sure everyone knows that you're there to help them. You're there to help them sell houses, buy houses, interpret value of their house. And really it is just about help. But I didn't, it was really nice if through other efforts, and this has to be one of them, that you get the opportunity to have people go out of their way to ask you for advice. And whether we're setting it up that, I'm you see me. I'm very forthcoming about information. I mean, if someone came in, I've had agents from other companies come in and ask a question, and I mean, I'm not, my advice might not be for everybody, but they took it and they actually benefited from it. So the important part, what I was going with, is even this stuff, and yes, so it's different than maybe some other agents. I mean, I'm tempted just as everyone else is, to jump into a pool with my suit, just so I can get 40 likes or something. 40,000 likes. No, I don't know how many you can get. Apparently, it's a very, very big thing. People benefit from it. I just haven't had the chance to. I just don't know which suit I want to ruin. But
go to Savers. Go to Savers or Salvo.
Yeah. So instead, I took the approach of information. I took the approach of sharing. And I'd love to do a mock music video. I mean, I have a couple of ideas. But again, the priority probably should be maybe helping and assisting. This is actually the market that's the approach everyone should be taking, because the market has transitioned. Call it October 5th, 2023. I'm just giving you my opinion. I do have the market has definitely changed. You can see things like a lot more agents are calling and inviting you, or maybe doing what's called broker open houses, when obviously up until about maybe like yesterday, we didn't have to do that. The house was going to sell at the first open house you do. So that is in itself a sign. Suddenly you have agents maybe being a little more forthcoming and being willing to work with you, and suddenly buyers are getting great opportunities. There's great opportunities for buyers to be able to snag the house of their dreams. I mean, house value wise, there was a survey that was done with 100 financial analysts, real estate professionals, and statistical. I'm so bad about quoting quotables, but apparently the consensus is, on average, they expect a 3.3% increase in property values.
Wow.
Over the course, from last year to this year. Sorry, that's a predictive analyzation. So this one actually is predicting that on average. So some people predict even as much as a 0.1% depreciation in property values over the course of 2024. Remember what I just said, 0.1%. So not 1%, 0.1. That is the worst case prediction. Then others predict even as high as 6% increases over the course of 2024. So when you average them, apparently they get 3.3. So the market is moving. The market is moving up. The market is increasing. Property values will appreciate. And I think the only difference is how they're going to appreciate. We're probably not going to have crazy bidding wars. Maybe not, like I said, crazy bidding wars. I think that with the right strategy, you could still have a bidding war. So that's what I've noticed, and that's what I guess what differentiates me is I love sharing my opinion.
Well, even like I still think about media presence that I see from a lot of other realtors or mortgage people, and as I'm like following people on your account, I'm looking at other realtors, and it's just like the same picture posted over and over again, or it'll be very static design, and you're taking an approach of, well, I have something important to say, I'm going to share it, and people need to know more than just a static picture with my face, 2% of the image and then like a random house with the listing price.
Right, and that actually differentiates me as well. My advertising usually involves my face as 60% of the image.
Yeah, and it should be, because you're the brand.
I know. And that actually, really. If you want to know a real specific example, I know that 2020 up when I advertise very aggressively, much more aggressively than I advertise now, my ads always had, and other people commented, Ted, why is your picture so much bigger? I said, well, I'm paying for the ad. So, and I had a nice picture of a house. There was always a house to sell.
And then they focus more on the house.
Yeah, because see, at the end of the day, it wasn't about advertising me. People don't realize this, but when there's a friendly or a familiar face, and your goal is to create that friendly, familiar, trustworthy face, people are more likely to call you. The more people that are interested in owning property, buying property, that call me directly, the better off my sellers are, because I get the phone call directly and I'm able to help them navigate, help my buyer navigate and my sellers navigate at the same time. So yeah, my picture will always be really big on my advertising.
Well, it has to,
because that's the way to build a brand. And that definitely is different back then. Nowadays, I see it all the time. I see people with their face right on, all their signs. And I think the part that, I'm not saying that they imitated me, but I think that the part that they missed, I didn't use my picture because I wanted to use my picture. I used my picture because it was a good picture. I go to the trouble to get really good pictures done. So I see people on billboards and I say, I think they don't realize they should be on radio.
Oh, he said you got a face for. I
only know one other agent that can really insult people really well.
Who's that?
I can't say her name.
Can't.
But she insults people without. I don't even think she realizes she insults people.
Oh my god!
And I'm not going out of my way to insult people. So maybe we should edit that part. But it is true. It wasn't the billboard. It wasn't. Anyway, I can't explain it. Maybe I should.
Well,
give away all my secrets.
It's more like, I don't want to explain
it. It could be as simple as maybe like my image could have been a house with a sold sign on it, and if that was what kind of garnered results, and that would have been. And then right now, you'd be sitting here with me, but I'd have like a crazy house sign with a sold sign on it, logo in back of me.
Yeah.
If that was the brand that I built.
And that's the thing too. It's important to look at results, and I feel like a lot of people don't know how to get qualitative and quantitative data and look at it and say, okay, this is what's working this time. This is what's not working. Like, I'll be on Instagram trying to manage your account. I'm like, okay, well, we got 80% increase in engagements this week, and then we had 20% increase in followers. This obviously what we're doing right now is working. Let's see how we can increase that, or if we can maintain it throughout the week. So
I always asked my clients, when we get called into a house and put it on the market, we go over all our questions. We talk about the house. We go over everything. Everything is set in stone. Everything is set up. All the paperwork is done. I'd actually ask. I say, I do like to know where results come from. What made you call me? And I did get a kick out of when one person said, well, nice. You have a nice picture, young. This was a while ago, so the young I have to take out now. But yeah, so I still have to make sure I always have a good picture.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, differentiating me. I think that the main thing that differentiates me is if I have a goal in mind, I do everything in my power to get it done. When an agent has a goal and they enlist my services, I move heaven and earth to get it done. When my sellers have a goal, I move heaven and earth to get it done.
And you're willing to go outside a convention too.
Yeah, when you need to.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. So I'm the fucking Energizer Bunny.
The Energizer Bunny. All right. So So for agents and such that want to step their game up and be something different, maybe refresh their strategy, what's one piece of advice you want to give them?
Well, I think I said it the other day, and I think we taped it on a short. But it's a lot like saying to someone, you want to be you because you have to be you. That's the main thing that is going to differentiate you. And so me was I like my picture. You have to be you, but it can't just be you. And I think that's where a lot of the slightly, you know what? I'm not going to just say younger agents. I think every agent, who knows what's going on in people's head these days. I think agents misinterpret that. Oh, well, I'll be me. That's great, but you also have to be a real estate version of you. If someone can talk to a personal trainer, and I'll ask them any question in the world because I'm so dumb when it comes to personal training and exercising and everything. So, but because they're a personal trainer and a successful personal trainer, I'll ask them. If they're personable and they're nice and I like their personality, it's even more, that you might even, become friends. But when did I get off track? Oh, maybe that's what differentiates me really. I get off track.
Yeah.
I'm like crazy train over here. But it's very difficult for me to explain it in a way that people can understand. When I work with agents and we build their careers, it's almost done without them knowing, and in a very natural way, because that's the only way I think that it can occur and be authentic. Help them become real estate, and then introduce their personality somehow. So real estate comes first. Know the transaction, know the training, know how to write out a sales binder, know how to write out your paperwork, know your paperwork, disclosures, everything inside out. I did. And then you're able to introduce your personality, your flavor. I didn't do it the other way around. I mean, I always look like I look. But you know what I mean. I don't mean that. I just say like, some I take a nice picture, but it's like I didn't go out and put a billboard up day one. No, I learned the industry. I learned how to take listings, make sales, and then made a lot of them, and then got transactional experience. And I think that's where maybe some agents are doing it in reverse. And I don't believe that that's the way you're supposed to do it.
So
at least
you
not my
don't believe
opinion.
you don't believe in marketing first, selling next?
No, I think marketing is the most expensive way to obtain business. And so there are analytic data that can tell you exactly what it costs to get a phone call that says, I'm thinking about selling my house. And let's pretend the cost arbitrary is $1,000.
Huh.
That's probably not as arbitrary as people think. That's $1,000 phone call. That's $1,000 opportunity. The opportunity can make someone in real estate, depending on their markets, $20 or $30 or $150,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Good investment.
So that's an expensive opportunity. You might think $1,000 was expensive. Well, how about the $150,000 lost by not knowing how to explain different situations, how to say house prices, are they going up? Yeah, they're still going up. Oh, well, no. Find out what the person actually needs, and
Right.
see if you can actually give them some answers and some advice that helps them. And then maybe it is a transaction. So it's that opportunity. Marketing is the most expensive way to obtain new business, and it's the phone call. We'll just pretend that it's still phone calls. Obviously, we have emails, texts, and everything, but it's the phone call that you get. That costs the initial money, but it's what you do with that phone call that can make your career. And that's what I mean about marketing first versus knowing. If you cannot fill out a sales binder or explain the basic sales process, you are the dumbest person in the world if you just spent $1,000 for every phone call you can get. You can get 1,000 phone calls and you will still not but you may still not convert it.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's good advice. You got to know what you're doing first.
And the only reason I know that advice is not because anyone even told me. It was so amazing. I'll just call it lucky, because I just had training and support and just that training in the beginning. No, and it was like go preview. I forget if I had to preview 30 houses. I don't know. My boss made me preview 30 houses before you could obtain business, pretty much.
Wow.
Make 100 cold calls, and I am the worst person at cold calling. So, but I had to make the calls. And I forgot what else. And then they even had a training phone call to see how you would handle it. Obtaining someone's phone number. I know we all have call ID. How about obtaining someone's name? How about obtaining someone's needs? Asking the right questions. So I received that training early on. Wow. I didn't receive it 5 years in. Anyway.
Training matters.
It really does.
Now, when you're training agents, what sets your training methods apart from the training methods of other offices or real estate agencies?
It's also the same reason that maybe agents can either work really well with me or not. And again, there's no medium. It's either all in or all out. So I have a little bit of a weird training method. I think I have a much more Mr. Miyagi training method. Okay. It's like, follow me around, like not follow me around, but, tag along, for the most part, stay silent. And, easy. Stay out of my way. You might get hurt. But that's the best way that I know how to train, because I can't sit there and say everything I would say, because that's what I would say. Someone has to learn and see and observe and say, okay, I could work that way. And if they have a very similar personality, they definitely would be able to use some of my verbiage. If they have a similarity, that kind of personality, I have one agent that recently joined us. He seems to be that figuring it out. He actually helped me hang the cheetah poster right up here.
Nice.
And so he seems very resourceful. So do I think he might be able to really repeat my methods? Absolutely.
Nice.
As opposed to someone who might just be much more of a different or more timid personality, a person who says, "Oh, I don't know how to figure that out," and that they have to just adjust and make a little blend. I think the best training, so I train on the basics, and I think that if someone wants to repeat my style, the only way they can do it is becoming brilliant at the basics first. Know what 1 + 1 equals, as what do they call that?
Rudimentary.
Rudimentary as it sounds. You have to know what 1 + 1 equals before you can figure out, calculus. So, but in terms of training, I believe in the basics. We train on, this is the paperwork. Explain the paperwork. Read the paperwork, and then know how to explain it. Our job is a facilitator. If we don't know how to explain the paperwork to our seller, what good are we?
Exactly. They might as well be a FSBO. Now, what separates Coldwell Banker from other real estate agencies?
Well, Coldwell Banker actually was the first company in the nation back in 1906 to take a very bad situation, the fires of San Francisco earthquake that caused fires, and there was a lot of people being taken advantage of because real estate as an industry had not been created. It was obvious. It's 1906. I wasn't even born. That says a lot. I know that if I wasn't even born, it was a long time ago. But there apparently the history shows us and tells us the story of Benjamin Coldwell and Arthur Banker. Colbert Coldwell and Arthur Banker. Gosh, I used to know this story. They actually got together and they connected and created Coldwell Banker, and it was the first legitimate company that had standards and rules and was there to make money. But of course, I think their main intention was let's make sure people aren't taken advantage of the way they are, because apparently, obviously, homes were destroyed. Everything, it was a crisis. The fires, and they made a huge company out of it. What I like about Coldwell Banker now is it's a very well-known brand. It's a nice brand to have behind you. It's a nice brand that you have connections everywhere. I had a client who wanted to buy property in Italy. I was able to facilitate that. So
wow.
They are but that goes with any good company. It's doesn't have to be Coldwell Banker. A good company is a company that supports and has the infrastructure to help you make careers and longevity.
Wow. And it's cool that you guys had your start helping, also making money, but primarily helping.
Yeah, when
others.
you go in it with good intentions, it's amazing how good things work out.
I think that's important, especially when you said earlier, the universe helping the universe comes back.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
I don't think a lot of times we're selfish when we're younger, and I was younger once, but only once.
Only once. Well, I think that was a really good episode. Where can the folks find you?
They can find me on YouTube, the Real Ted G Podcast, on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course Facebook.